of the things that you really want to have partially set up, at least in a way that shows you want the job, is to have an attempt at an educational background. Whether that is having a map behind you, having a few things up that kind of spruce up the blank wall. So, just make a simple attempt of putting a few things behind you. It's probably best not to be having the camera face like your bed or the kitchen. So kind of have it set up so that you at least have like a few feet between the computer and your blank wall space. That's it, really. You should be thinking about having good lighting. I've got some natural light coming in here, but I also have lots of light coming from the ceiling lights. And I'll show you over here. I have positioned this light to be right above my laptop. So this light just provides a little bit of extra light on any shadows that are coming on me. So that's it. Good lighting, good background. That's the first tip. Second tip, smile. Smile a lot. It should hurt after a while. You know what? You are applying to teach children. You need to bring that energy, and guess what? By smiling, even when you don't feel like it, your energy increases, and it also affects the way the other person feels. So make sure you smile a lot, you feel positive, you come across as a little bit energetic, and that you show that you really want to be doing this job. I can't stress enough, make sure you smile. My third tip is to cut out incidental language. And that means that you stop all that extra wording that we tend to use when we're talking to fluent English speakers. If you're a teacher of a normal classroom, a brick and mortar school, you're probably quite used to introducing the lesson or introducing things, having small talk with the kids, saying things like, "Hi everybody, we are going to learn about division today." All that stuff, cut it out. They are a 5-year-old child, and you talking in that sort of with all that incidental language, A, they're not going to understand, and B, you're giving more output to them than they're giving to you. And guess what? The whole point of this is to get them speaking. At this level, you want kind of a 50-50 exchange of language, and that's what the interviewer is looking for. So cut out that incidental language. Say things in simple ways. Don't read the title of the slide. Don't say, okay, next we're going to do this, or what we're going to be learning about today is my feelings. They haven't understood anything you've said. So keep it simple. Remember, a lot of this at this level is I say, you say, and they can answer basic questions. Okay, my fourth tip for being successful in the interview has to do with teaching the outcome of the slide. I see a lot of applicants get caught up in wanting to extend what's on the slide or do things with the content of the slide that is not expected. Focus on what's being stated at the bottom of the slide. So when you're practicing, make sure that you're understanding the sentence structure that is at the bottom. So for example, if it says, have the student say the sentence, "When I'm happy, I look like this," then you're going to make sure that they get that sentence. And that's it. And the interviewer is looking to see that you can get all that material in the time prescribed. So they say what the time length is, and then they give you the slides. It's now up to you to figure out how many minutes to spend on each slide. And also make sure you look at the outcomes before you start the demo lesson. How can you teach the lesson without knowing what you're supposed to be teaching? So make sure that you really focus on what is the child supposed to do. That's it. All right, guys, that was tip number 4. On to tip number 5. Tip number 5, speak slowly. Use TPR. What do I mean by TPR? It's total physical response. I'll give you a few examples of what I do for TPR with my students, especially with my young ones. And this is kind of standard across VIPKid, so it's really nice the kids know what it means. They know that when you go like this, an apple starts with A, that you are speaking and you want them to listen. And then when you go like this, you want them to speak and you are listening. How are you? Great. I am happy too. I feel happy. You are going to be talking to an adult, and this is super strange at first. And so you will have the tendency to want to talk fast like this, and you're going to want to speed things up, and you're going to be nervous, and you're going to be anxious. And they are scoring you based on how they believe a 5-year-old is understanding you. So make sure that you talk slowly. Okay, up next, tip number 6. Tip number 6 is to correct all mistakes. They are going to make mistakes on purpose. So when you're in the interview, the interviewer, who is an adult pretending to be a child of the age of 5 learning English, is going to make common mistakes that kids of that age and English level are going to make. Hello, my name is Teacher Tim. What's your name? They say their name. And then you're going to ask a very general question like, how old are you? They're probably going to stump you and say, 6. So you want to make sure that they're answering in full sentences. You're 6, great. I am 6 years old. Good job. So you're really just wanting them to always speak in full sentences. So another error they might make are pronunciation errors. Just, always correct mistakes and always make sure that they're speaking in full sentences. Okay, up next, tip number 7. Next tip is to practice. You're given a chance to get into the classroom early. Make sure you get in there, you test your headset out. Oh yeah, bonus tip, wear a headset. I'll link the one that I use below. It's really good, it's noise canceling, and it has a mute button. But get into the classroom, practice moving between slides, practice jumping from one slide to another, because your interviewer might say, hey, let's go back to slide number 6, I want to point something out. So you want to be able to do that, and if you can, that's awesome, it looks really good. If you can't, it's not the end of the world, but it shows that you've put time into learning the system and how the classroom works. That's tip number 7, guys. On to tip number 8. Okay, so tip number 8 is a little bit about your sort of overall setup. And we talked about lighting, we talked about background, talked about props. In your TPR, yeah, make sure you have definitely at least 2 props. And so I want to just talk to you about sort of what I would have set up for your interview. I really have this sort of stand that I have, and I'll show you here. It's a neck stand, and it just props the laptop up so that the camera is at eye level. If you've got the laptop all the way down on the table, then your eyes are going to be sort of looking down, and it's really, really obvious. Now, for props, I keep it really simple, but for my interview, I had a whiteboard, and I have a puppet, which is really good for the role-playing stuff, Meet Panda, and I use my phone as a reward. I have a couple of apps, and my 9th tip is coming up right now. Tip number 9, you want to look professional. I mean, you don't want to be lying down in your bed when you're doing the interview, right? Like, think about how you're presenting yourself in the interview. You don't have to wear an orange shirt. I don't even own an orange shirt, but I've heard it looks good. It used to be the required t-shirt by the company, but they can't require that anymore. So, just wear something plain colored, no logo, something bright. If you have an orange shirt, perfect. Don't go out and buy one. Look professional. Like, don't do the interview in your bed. It's just, doesn't look good, If you do the interview in your bed, let me know how it goes. I'm kind of curious. All right, up next, the bonus tip. Okay, my bonus tip has to do with when they set your salary. They're gonna ask you at the end of the interview, what do you expect to get paid? Please watch my other video about salary and how the pay schedule works so you can kind of better understand that. But my tip is not only to bring it in all those ways that I've just talked about, but also to think about how you might present yourself when they ask you what you want to get paid, and what you might say if they say a starting pay that you weren't expecting, maybe something a little bit lower. You might want to say, you know, I'm really worth this much because of my experience and A, B, and C, and you never know, they might just agree with you. Okay, everybody, those are my 9 tips for being so successful in your interview. I hope you pass. I hope you get the top pay. I'm happy to coach you through the process. Please use the link down below and get in touch with me if you need any help. Please like this video, subscribe, and let me know if you'd like to see more. Until next time. Until next time.